Let's talk about the 6 things you need to get started producing music. Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm TC from TCMuze.com. I'm here for people just getting into songwriting and music production. So let's get into finding you the right equipment you need to get started. I'll first share what I have, then I'll go over some popular options, and some will be budget friendly. 1. Your DAW. Your DAW is where you put all of your thoughts, all your musical compositions together, kind of like the home base for everything music that you're gonna do. My DAW of choice is Mutu's Digital Performer. To me, it fits my workflow. It's the best of both worlds between something like a Pro Tools, a Logic, and Ableton. Just works perfectly for me. My second DAW is Native Instruments Machine. Now this is for making beats and is more akin to the old school MPC style of music production. So if you're coming from the MPC style, Machine is like a no-brainer for you in regards to making music. Some other Windows and Mac based DAWs would be Studio One for Personas, which I feel is intuitive and kind of the best of both worlds also in regards to just having an approach that people will understand. The other DAW that's very popular is Ableton Live, and that is more loop based. They also have an arrangement view. Ableton also shines when it comes to the included virtual instruments and plugins that come with the DAW. And if you want to go for what's going to be the most ubiquitous, what you're going to be able to travel with, whether that's from your home studio to a professional studio, I would say go with Pro Tools, as it's still the industry standard for recording and editing. My advice here, the best way to make the decision on which DAW is right for you is to try the free trials. Each company offers some type of trial version for you to get acclimated with the software before you make your purchasing decision. The other thing you may want to take into consideration is, what does your genre community use? For example, if you're into trap music, you're probably going to be using FL. If you're into EDM, you're probably going to be using Ableton Live. So those are a couple of things that I would look into before making those decisions. Also, you're going to want to look at something that is going to allow you to tap into tutorials and a wealth of resources. So see if that's available for you. The second thing that you're going to need is an audio interface. I'm a bit partial to Mutu, so I use the Motu Audio Express, which is a 6-in, 6-out audio interface. Allows me to do some creative routing and takes care of all the needs that I want. But if you're starting out, you're probably not going to need 6 inputs. You probably just need 2, something for vocals and guitar. And that's why I suggest the Mutu M2, which is currently about $179, and it provides 2 inputs, 2 outputs. It's relatively new, so before the M2 came out, I always suggested that people go with the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, which is also 2 in, 2 outs. Basically your industry standard go-to entry-level audio interface. Everybody that I've suggested or recommended this to has loved it, never come back with any complaints in regards to audio quality or reliability. Number 3, let's look at microphones. Now you can look at microphones in 2 different ways. You have your dynamics and you have your condensers. Of course you have ribbon mics and you have some more boutique type of microphones, but condensers and dynamic microphones are going to be the bulk of what you encounter. So for dynamic microphones, I have a Shure SM57, and that's literally what I would suggest that you get if you're going for a dynamic microphone, would be the SM57 or the SM58. Dynamic microphones are great at rejecting sounds that you don't want to pick up. However, they're not as detailed as a condenser mic. So you may want to pick up both. In regards to condenser mics, I have a TLM 103, which is an awesome mic, very detailed, probably a little overkill for the amount of recording that I do, if I'm just gonna be honest. I do have a secondary microphone. It's an Octava 319, which is basically a Russian type microphone that I picked up years ago. It's a workhorse. It works and does the job perfectly. and it's relatively inexpensive. If you can find one on the used market and you're interested, I would definitely recommend you picking that up. Now, if you're just starting, I would suggest getting one condenser mic and letting that cover all of your recording needs. Now, the ones that I would suggest would be the Rode NT1, which is currently about $269, or you can get the Austin Origin, which is around $299, or the Austin Spirit, which is about $449 currently. But if you want something in the sub $100 range, I would go with the Audio-Technica 2020, which is $90, or I would even go with the Behringer B1, which is $89. You'll be surprised with the B1. I know a lot of people that have started their careers recording with the B1 and went years with it before upgrading to a better microphone. The fourth thing that you're gonna need is monitors. Now, this is gonna be dependent on the size of your room and your budget. I use the Focal Alpha 80s, which run about $550 each. If you're just starting out, again, you don't need something that expensive. I would recommend the Yamaha HS5s or 8s. Again, depending on your room size. The 5s are 5-inch, the 8s go up to 8-inch woofer size. So if you're in a smaller room, go with the 5-inch. The other monitors that I would recommend at this entry point would be the KRK Rockets. I think they offer 5, 7, and 8-inch woofer variations. And then the last company that I would look at is Kali Audio. They're relatively new on the scene, but from what I've seen, they sound pretty good. The fifth thing that you're gonna need is headphones, a nice alternative if you're not ready to purchase monitors. And chances are, even if you purchase monitors, you're still gonna need headphones when you record. So let's get into what I currently use. I use the Audio-Technica ATH M50Xs. They currently come in at $149. They're great, they're awesome. They're a little bass heavy for me. So to be honest, what I use on a daily basis are the KRK 8400s. They're just like the Audio-Technicas in my opinion. They just have a less bass heavy response, which is a sweet spot for me, right middle of the road. Also at $149. If you're looking for something a little more budget friendly, I would suggest going with the AKG 240 Studios. They're about $69, but they're open back, which means you may get some feedback when you're recording because you'll hear more of the sounds coming out of the headphones. And I think there are some suitable headphones at the below $100 rate, but I suggest whatever you get, they be over the ear headphones and not on the ear headphones. Your ears will be fatigued with on the ear headphones and you are just not gonna have an enjoyable experience. The sixth thing that you may need or may think you need is plugins. I would suggest that you stick with the plugins that came with your DAW. Do not go out and immediately buy third-party plugins. But if you want some suggestions on third-party plugins, here are the favorite companies that I like to work with. I like Native Instruments. They offer effects-based plugins and also virtual instruments. I have Complete, covers all your needs. The other company that I use a lot of their products are IK Multimedia. I use Sample Tank religiously and all the other expansions that come with it, from Sample Moog, Sonic Synth from way back in the day. They also have a powerful suite of just effects plugins when it comes to reverb and then mixing with EQs. Just awesome. And they're CPU light. They're not very intensive on your CPU. Now switching away from instrument-based plugins, let's just look at effects-based plugins. I enjoy Waves. There's a debate on Waves. Some people like them, some people love them. But I have a couple of Wave bundles that I suggest. They're the Power Pack, and then I believe it's the Musician 2. Like, you can get those two as a beginner and be set. Hey guys, almost forgot. One other thing that you're gonna need is a MIDI keyboard. Now I would suggest getting something either in the 49 or 61 key range. The other option is to go with the mini keyboard, but I usually find that that's a little cumbersome to work my way around and it's harder to start on a mini keyboard. However, I do understand that they are a cheaper alternative. So I kind of leave it up to you to decide on which way you want to go there. I like, of course, M Audio. I also I have two M Audio keyboards. I have the large 61 key Axiom, which is probably time for me to change around and get something new and upgrade. And then I also have like a 32 key mini that is a key station, which I enjoy. But again, like I said, I only use that when I travel, and it's still a little cumbersome for me to get around. It's just not the same as dealing with a full scale keyboard. But anyway, it's up to you to decide. I mean, since we're starting in, unless you're a piano player, you usually don't need an 88 key weighted keyboard. So I would stick with either 49, 61 or a mini keys. So you can check there, but just didn't want to leave the video without telling you guys about getting a MIDI keyboard also. You will want to factor that into the equation, even if you're not a keys player. All right, back to the show. Now that we've gone over the 6 things that you're gonna need to start making music, the best advice I can give to you is to go out and try it for yourself. If you don't like it, return it. And always remember, it's the ear, not the gear. You can get great results without spending a ton of money. Here's my parting thoughts in regards to getting what you need to get started. I would say buy the minimum of what you need, then invest in educating yourself. I would start with music lessons, songwriting tutorials, and then finally production and mixing tutorials. Then and only then should you buy more gear. Invest in yourself first and gear second. Next time.